So it looks like I'm live now, and I wasn't sure if any of the other board members from the Wide for the Win team would be able to join me here. But I am just testing out the live stream. We plan on doing a few more events here. Now, what I can do is, I guess I'm trying to figure out comments. If I bring up the chat, if there's people who are interested, and you don't have to, but if you are interested in joining with video, audio, whatever it is, so you can actually engage in the conversation, I think that's a wonderful solution. Or in particularly, I do have some questions that some amazing folks have posted. And this is being recorded, so it should be available afterwards for those of you worried if you can't see the whole thing or whatever. But I'm just kind of killing some time as people move into the room. Susie's here. Yay, Suzie.
Yay! Yeah,
So,
sorry, it took me a second to my computer did not want to load Circle today.
All good. All good.
So.
I do have questions that I put on another screen here. I've got a whole bunch of people in the room, and when I was by myself, I was going to invite, if anybody has a good answer for one of the questions, why not invite them in so that if they're willing to, and they can leave just pop a little comment and let us know, hey, I have a great answer for that question. We can bring you in. Don't worry, you don't need to stay the whole time if you don't want to. You can pop back out. But what do you think? Should we have 17 now? So here's the thing. So I created this using the Wide for the Win admin account. Mm-hmm. I tried to log in as me to start it, and it didn't work because I don't have that admin privilege. So that was one of the things I was testing.
I wish Circle was more admin without charging an arm and a leg, but
yeah, they charge us so much for it already with just the core features we have. But so I was just testing a few of those things, but then I was just looking to see what was I looking to see? Well, I was checking to see the backstage area, right? Like hanging out in the backstage area before we go live and seeing if the go live button was there or not, and it wasn't for me. I guess we'll have to test it at another time because I didn't know if I created it as an admin and I invited you as a co-host, would you be able to go live if something happened and I got hit by a bus? So those are some
to test that because I have an admin account.
Yeah. Well, do you see an end stream? End stream?
I do. Yeah.
Good. So that means you would have had the go live button, and so that's important. So, do you think we should get to 21 people? So hey guys, 21 people watching live. So yeah, do you want me to start with the first question?
Yeah.
Oh boy, yes, because this is an Ask Us Anything, and you can leave, I think, in the chat. If you should see in the chat window, I'm not sure if people watching this can see the participants, but there's a little participants button in the bottom right. Maybe what I'll do is I'm just going to take a screenshot right now, so I can share that with folks so they can kind of see what I'm talking about in case they can't see it. Okay, take the screenshot. There we go. And yeah,
in there and Cameron's posting. Hi.
So there are chats. Cool. Testing the chat. Hi. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Cool. Thanks, guys. So again, feel free to put and if you could just put question at the beginning, so it's not just a fun, nice, friendly welcome as you guys are doing. So the first question from Angela Reiserer which was commented on the event says, if book 1, 2, and 3 are out, we're supposed to wait for book 4 to be on pre-order before we price book 1 for free, right? Say we only have 1 or 2 books out in the series. How do we promote it? Do we promote it at all? Oh, sorry, I should have said. And I'm getting the comment on my phone. This is Angela. This is, by the way, guys. This is what phones used to be like when I was young. Little rotary machine thingies. Anyway, so Angela's asking. 3 books in the series I'm assuming they're in a series. Well, I'll make that assumption that they're in a series. Are we supposed to wait for book 4? Now, I'm going to start, if that's okay, Suzie. There's no hard and fast rule that you cannot promote or you shouldn't promote. I think the advice commonly is it costs a lot of money often to promote a book 1, especially if you're going to make it free. You want to be able to turn that around in a way that you can make money. And so often it's not until you have a paid book 2 and a paid book 3 and potentially a paid book 4 before you start to make your money back. So that's usually, I think, why that's common advice. But I would argue, even if you only have 1 book out or 2 books out, if you want to drop it to free temporarily or 99 cents and run like a bargain book C or a free book C, or a, if you can get a book Bob, ideally. It's okay to do that, to get readers, to get reviews, because the call to action can be sign up for your newsletter, or the call to action can be the pre-order. You're not as likely to make as much of your money back that way. Yeah. That's what I would caution you with. Suzie, what do you think?
So one of the caution that I have, okay, I have an echo in here. I'm not sure why. I might take this off.
Oh.
Am I hearing an echo now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the one thing I caution, like if you only have 1 or 2 books out and you make the first one free, number one, you're not going to have as many paid books sell through to pay for the ads and all that. Right. The second question is the reason why I like to wait until at least book 3, if not book 4, ideally book 4, but that's not a hard and fast rule, like you said, is the fact that your first promotion with any newsletter service is going to be your best. So for me, I actually ran. So at the point I had 3 books I ran, and I was still in KDP Select at that point. This is way back in 2013.
Suzie, I had no idea.
I know. I've been wide since 2014 now, so I made it up. I made up for that. But anyhow, so my first book club feature deal was on an Amazon only series that only had the free book and then 2 sequels. Okay. It did okay. It had like 78,000 downloads over a 4-day period, I think. And I made about $6,000 that month and $9,000 by the end of that year. It ran in October. So, getting paid for it was like November, December. The problem is the next time I ran it in April of 2014, I then had 4 books out in the series. So the free book and then 3 sequels. It was about I should pull my numbers up, but I'd have to go searching. I don't want to do that right now. I think it was about a 25% drop or a 28% drop in downloads of the first free book. Right. So that's why I say if you can, ideally wait until you have at least 3, if not 4 books out, because that way you get the most bang for that first promotion on any newsletter service.
Right. And the momentum, right, is...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But... Okay. It depends on what you want. If you want money, then that's the way to go. If you would rather focus on, say, getting newsletter subscribers, then by all means, I mean, yeah, like you said, there's no hard and fast rule, and there's different ways to do it for different reasons. Like if you want to build your newsletter, making that book free, especially if you have like a short story or some kind of bonus material you can give people as a reader magnet, makes them a little bit more inclined to sign up. It doesn't have to be an entire free book to get people in your newsletter, by the way.
Okay. And then there's a comment on that from James. So James Mathis says, perma-free. I did the insane thing of putting book 1 as free 2 weeks before book 2 came out. I went from $30 in royalties to $600 the month after book 2 came out. So yeah, it can work, right?
Yeah,
so,
it really depends on what your goals are. If you're looking at, if you're looking to hit it big or make a big splash, then wait until you have 3 or 4 books out. Yeah. If you just want to, slowly increase my only hesitation on doing it with fewer books out is just, like I said, that first run with any of the newsletter services. Your first one's always going to be your best. So if you want to make a bigger splash, then wait. If you don't care, if you'd rather just start making a few bucks now to start paying off, cover costs, editing costs, that kind of thing. I mean, there is no one way to do this. There is no wrong way. There's no right way. There's perhaps better practices and here's why. And then there's perhaps, it depends on what your goals are, honestly.
Right. So, and that's where, how do you promote it? Do you promote it at all? Again, I would reduce the amount of money you're spending on promotions until you have more of that momentum, those momentum sales potentially. But again, it doesn't mean you can't or you shouldn't, because maybe you want to experiment. Maybe you want to try. Oh, I'm going to try one of the newsletters that cost me $5 or $20. It's not going to have as big of an impact, but then you can at least measure and go, "Ooh, I went from selling nothing to 1 book," which is often the case with some of the smaller ones, right? All right, so we have so many, and I love seeing the questions pop in. This
one
is
last point, though.
One last point. What's that?
Don't ever discount experimentation. Experimentation is important because that's how we learn, right? I said, I have a post, and I can't even remember where the post, on the Wide for the Win Tree of Wisdom in the Facebook group about
you mean in the Facebook group where people can't find anything?
I know, I hate it. No, despite our best efforts, nobody can find anything. I can't find stuff. No, but the gist of it was wait until you have, 3 or 4 books out. Don't focus so hard on promoting when you only have 1 or 2 books out. I'm not talking in a series. I'm talking entirely. If you only have 1 or 2 books total, use that time as you're writing the next few books to experiment. Don't spend a ton of money. Don't expect that you're going to make $1 million off your first book. Right. You're setting yourself up for failure, for disappointment. Yeah, not failure, disappointment. That's what I was looking for.
Even if you only make 100,000, but you were hoping for $1 million, you'll be disappointed.
Right, so. Exactly. I mean, it's the time to experiment. It's to learn, number 1, what your readers expect. Number 2, to test your covers, to test your blurbs. And I'm looking back at my first couple books. By the second book up I did in April of 2014, I revised the entire first book. And I mean, it was a pretty significant revision. And so I sent it out. And that was part of the success of that book, Bub. But I mean, it's for learning how to be an author, because you can write really good books, or you think they're really good books, and then you put them out there and you start getting feedback from actual readers. And you realize, oh, I have a glaring issue in this book. Oops. It's your time to learn. So don't put so much pressure on making money, I guess, at that point. Yeah. You focus more on learning your craft, on building your reader base, on learning the ins and outs of publishing. It's like, try to reduce your pressure on yourself. There's so many new authors that put so much pressure on themselves.
I know.
Stop. You have all these years ahead of you. Theoretically, obviously things happen, but so it's like, cool. Yeah.
All right. No, good stuff. Yeah, we have so many questions. I want to start with the ones that were posted before we started. So I've got them on a separate screen here. So Angela Ackerman. So far we have questions from Angela Ackerman. So the second question says, I'd also like to hear what marketing strategies panelists plan to focus on in 2024. To navigate the growing disruption, I should say, that AI will cause. And also if any panelists are planning to use AI tools themselves, not to write fiction with, but for marketing purposes. So without us getting into the hostility that can happen with AI, I would argue that I've been looking at following some of the stuff that Joanna Penn's been talking about, and playing with AI for marketing, for helping with sales copy, and just to give me ideas. Even and it's kind of like a writing partner I often find, where you throw out a bunch of ideas and then you take the best of the best. Even the description that's currently up for one of my pre-orders, an early version of that was basically, I was like, here's what I want it to be, and it came up with some stuff, and it gave me ideas that I readapted. I went, oh, that's kind of neat, but what if I change it to this and add that, and get rid of that one and add this other thing? And then suddenly it was like somebody, it's no different than what we do as writers. I'm in a cafe, I overhear somebody say something, and I go, what if they were talking about murder rather than whatever, you're dropping their kids off at school or whatever it was, and then I take it and I go somewhere with it. So definitely using AR for some of the marketing support. I really like the idea of again, I'm not a leader in this. I'm kind of following and listening and paying attention, but I want to experiment, because I tried experimenting with dictation. I'm not good at it. I've tried several times. I just can't.
Neither. Does not work for my brain.
Yeah, my brain doesn't work in that way. Maybe with some nonfiction I've been able to dictate. So I mean, Joanna Penn and I, the Relaxed Author was basically dictated us in conversation. And that's different. But with nonfiction, I didn't have to keep track of characters and plots and stuff like that. So that's interesting. Any other thoughts on that one?
For AI, as it stands right now, until the legalities of it get worked out, I'm hesitant to use it. And for my ad copy, that's fine. But for art, the art side, no way. And I played around with Adobe Firefly, which actually uses Adobe stock. So at least your images that are being fed into the machine are sourced ethically. The creators are getting paid for it. But and then there's a whole copyright issue. So as far as drafting, no way. There's no way at all I'd use that. Not even in my outlining stages. because honestly, it's kind of foreign to me. I would rather actually talk to a real person if I'm going to have help with that. Marketing copy, my few experiments with it, they are so over the top and full of hyperbole. And I'm like,
isn't that what marketing copy is?
Well, it is, but I mean, it's like ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this grand adventure. So I, just for fun of it, because I have my fantasy that I'm working on. And for some reason, I usually have a fairly solid blurb written out before I even start writing the book, because that's part of my brainstorming process.
Yeah.
And this time I have basically my premise statement and nothing else. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'll feed the premise statement into it and see what it comes up with. And it was so bad. I mean, it took me longer to actually edit what I think it was GPT, whatever I used. It took me longer to edit it than it did to write it.
Right.
Like,
yeah. Fair enough.
Not saving time. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I'm on the fence about it.
Okay.
I think it's here to stay, no matter whether we want it or not. There's a lot of ethical issues surrounding AI right now, and until that gets sorted, I'm hesitant to use it. I think down the future, as it gets smarter and it becomes more ethical, and as legal cases are settled and laws are written about it, I think it's not going away, and it could be a very good tool to use. Like you say, if it could, write some ad copy that's not quite so over the top, I'd be a lot more inclined, maybe. But
and then I just want to add, because Angela started off with marketing strategies, and the marketing strategies are because there's going to be a bigger flood, right? The tsunami of material is going to grow, and it's already started. That's where selling direct on your own platform is going to be an important marketing aspect, marketing direct. And also, and Angela is good about this, because when I hear Angela's name, I think about the brilliant brand that her and her co-author have created in the Thesaurus Guides. Like, there is a well-known, trusted, respected brand from real people. I can Google things and get answers, and I can probably do whatever. But I know if I turn to these two women who've written these, the Emotion Thesaurus and all of the great resources they put out for writers, that aspect of the brand. So any platforms like Ream, for example, where you can engage in a community and be a real human, I think a lot of the marketing strategies that drive towards that humanity, towards that very specifically curated and on target branding, I think is going to be critical. Like, come on, I'm always trying to be about the brand, only because I like to check out my podcast. Okay, we have so many questions, and we haven't even.
I want to get back to that. So
gotta keep going.
No, yes, gotta keep going on this question. No, selling direct, things like Kickstarter, and definitely getting that human aspect in there where you're making actual connections with people, I think it's always been important, but I think it's going to be even more important, especially because of AI. I mean, there are readers out there who are flat saying, I want human created books, artwork, whatever. So, and now, I'm just starting my Shopify store. I've linked it up with Printify for print on demand stuff. And I didn't even launch my store. I didn't tell anybody besides the couple of people who were helping me test stuff. And I've already had a couple of orders without telling anybody. And like, one of them was my little calf calendar, and another one was my Montana landscapes calendar. I mean, so stuff related to my books, but not even my books.
Right.
And it's like, and I've been told by readers for years and years, it's like, you need to have some way to print like coffee mugs and t-shirts and all this fun stuff related to your book so we can buy them and support you as an author. So I totally agree that I think that human connection is going to be an even bigger deal. And selling direct, Kickstarters. I mean, look at the success of Kickstarters for authors. Especially for your fantasy genres, which I know, fantasy person back here, I'm like, all this good fun stuff. Oh I'm all over that. The special editions. Oh yes.
Right.
So that's kind of where I'm looking at for 2024 as far as marketing, where my focus is going to be a little less on the standard, like on retailers, newsletter promotions. I'll still do those, of course, because, they're proven strategies, but not as much. Most of my energy is going to be going towards my Shopify store this year, writing more books, of course, always. It's always going to be the D.
For sure.
So, okay.
All right. Okay, we're gonna have to motor through the next questions and kind of limit our, because you and I could go on for 5 hours, but I really have a hard deadline for 1:00 Eastern, which is 40 minutes. All right. So Nicole Burnham said, looking forward to this. Yay. I'd love to hear the panelists' thoughts on growing readership without TikTok, or spending more time on social media, creating, monitoring, and advertising than on writing.
Newsletter.
Yeah, newsletters. One of the other things. The other thing too is, like, being on social media that you're actually comfortable with and that potentially can tie in. So, for example, think Suzie is an example. We used your example of the calendars related to where your novels are set. So you haven't put out a new novel for those readers in a while, but there's stuff that engages with them. Maybe that's something that, because you have the images anyway, maybe that works well on Pinterest or on Instagram, and maybe you don't have to go and do a TikTok lip sync kind of thingy, because that's not your forte, right?
I don't even have a TikTok account. I started one just so I could watch a couple of videos because I abandoned Twitter. I got tired of seeing all the ads and all the other BS that's going on at Twitter, or formerly known as Twitter, now X. Yeah. You want to talk about mistakes?
That's a crap show in and of itself.
So yeah, I started an account. I watched like 2 videos on TikTok, and then for some stupid reason, TikTok closed down my account, banned it, and I can't even access their help desk to find out why. And it's like, okay, this is unusual, whatever. Unfortunately, that was under my personal, but yeah, you can do it without social media.
Yeah, for sure. Newsletter, great idea. All right, so Diana Wingett says, I have a 4-book clean romance series, Wide, for about 3 months now. Yay, congratulations. I join every promo D2D lets me know about, but it seems so hard to gain traction. I'd love any tips that may help. So the first thing I'll say, Diana, is when you're in a promo, and I think this relates to another question. I'm going to try and tie this into another question I saw pop up in the comments. I think Kenneth Brown said, building newsletter, I found most of my subscribers are freebie seekers and KU readers. I joined a Kobo Plus book funnel promo. I'm not getting much traffic for this promo. How can I increase my wide readers? So maybe related to this, when you're in a promo from a retailer, share it. Just like you share how excited you are because your book's trending on Amazon. Share it, link it, tag the platform, tag the people involved in the platform so that they can be involved, that they can understand that you're pushing your stuff. Put it in your newsletter, share that you're part of this promo. Kenneth, a great idea, because you're not only in Kobo Plus, and you're getting into a different kind of reader, obviously, those freebie seekers or the people who pay a corporation to read your stuff. Kobo Plus is a great gateway from exclusivity into wide for some readers, because it is a better price and they can get access to your stuff there. And the book funnel promo is a good start because you're doing the collaboration with other authors, and that's also another one. I just joined. Lori Moulton is doing something that she posted about in. I can't remember if it was in one of our groups or whatever, but I saw the book funnel channel and I joined it.
Yeah, Wide for the Win. Facebook.
Yeah, it was in Wide for the Win on this in Circle or on Facebook, and I went in and said, well, if I'm going to make my book 99 cents for direct selling, I have to make it 99 cents everywhere. And since it's 99 cents everywhere, let me. I'm about to apply to a bunch of promotions with the retailers while I'm focusing on this. But I also have, and I have a calendar 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 10 different promos booked for February for this because I thought I'll just make it 99 cents for the whole month. And go for it. So I think there's an old saying, the Lord helps those who help themselves. And I'm not a religious person, but that is so true. It's kind of like the book sales help those who help themselves. It's kind of like the more you can do, and even if it's little things, they can all make a big difference over time.
Yeah. And what do I always say? Like you already pointed out, everybody gets excited about sharing how well they're doing on Amazon. Share how well you're doing on the other ones, just like you said. Make sure that you have your wide links everywhere, because I can't tell you how many times I've seen, like ads pop up in my Facebook feed or even just posts where all they have is the Amazon link. Well, if I'm reading an ebook, I read it on my phone, which is an iPhone, so I read it in Apple Books. I don't know why the Apple Kindle, or the Kindle app for my phone is just kind of clunky. I'm not real keen on it. I like the Apple Books interface a lot better.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, well, they're only on Amazon. I don't want to bother. Guess how many readers think just like that? They want to read where they prefer to read. So make sure you're making it easy for them to find your book.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how many times I have seen people who are new to Wide and say like, well, I'm not selling any books Wide. Why not? I'm like, well, first of all, you only have Amazon links.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I need the other links?
Yeah. Yes. And then the other thing about those other links is there are retailers that allow you to create customized coupon codes. The Google Play Store, Barnes & Noble, B&M Press, Apple.
Yep.
Well, Apple is weird because
Apple's
they
the pain.
expire and you only get so many and stuff. But you can still do those kinds of coupons. The Smashword store as well. So you can potentially engage and say, "Hey, newsletter people, you can get it at this platform for a really, really good price." That potentially. So if you're doing a Kobo promo, is a good example. I have a Kobo promo where they're going to use a 30% off coupon. So you go and make that 30% off coupon for your books at Google, at Barnes & Noble, maybe Apple, Smashwords. And then that way, when you send out the newsletter, if they're not Kobo readers, you have alternatives for them.
Yeah.
So, all right. Okay. Petra Burchard, sorry, says, what should be my next step? What platform should I try for advertising? Does anyone have an action plan with step 1, step 2, step 3? There's so much to do. I don't know where to start. I have one book of historical fantasy, no series planned. I distribute paperback through Ingram, ebook through D2D, audiobook through Findaway. Well, I think a really good start is right now you're publishing wide in the most beautiful sense because you're wide on all the different platforms. Petra, one of the things
formats.
Yeah, format. So Petra, go to your local library. Your book is going to be available in audiobook, in print, and in ebook. To the local libraries, let them know, hey, I'm a local author. It's a good start because especially if somebody reads your historical fiction or historical fantasy, my apologies, and if they love it, they're going to tell a bunch of friends, and those friends may or may not ask for it from the library. They may purchase it on their favorite retailer, which may or may not be Kindle or some other place. What about some other things? And it is difficult, honestly, with one title because all the focusing is on that one title, but it's not impossible.
Yeah, it's just more difficult if you only have one title, of course, but it's definitely not impossible. It's definitely possible. I would stay away from running your book for free if you want to do like the paid newsletters like BookBub, eReader News Today, Fussy Librarian, Free Booksy, Robin Reads, all those guys. I would actually run, and for a lot of them, 99 cents is kind of a dead zone. It doesn't work very well. It wouldn't be Free Booksy, it'd be Bargain Booksy, excuse me. But you could certainly try for a BookBub at 99 cents. It's more expensive. Fantasy's not too bad. But I mean, that way you're still making money on it, but you're also getting a lot more copies out there. That would be one option. You could join book funnel promos or Story Origin promos for wide books. You can network, do newsletter swaps with other authors, especially wide authors. I mean, there's next first step. If I had to say one, I don't know. You're off to a good start.
I think you're off to a great start. And again, be patient with yourself. Here's the other thing. Okay, my book came out 9 months ago, and I haven't done much with it. There's an old saying from a used bookstore in my hometown that still sticks with me, 40 years later, and that is that a book you haven't read is a new book. And so that's the beautiful thing. And so historical fantasy, I mean, I know a guy here locally who doesn't do a lot in ebooks, but he has epic fantasy, not historical, but he goes to medieval fairs and he's an author there. So anyone who's at a medieval fair, or it depends on the historical era that you're from. But I'm assuming if it's historical fantasy that it's gonna have knights and stuff like that. He dresses up like a knight. He sells a ton of print books.
I love fantasy readers.
But he's the only author at a lot of these fairs. So anyone who's a reader is also into the historical, the medieval, or whatever it is, and they gravitate towards them. So that allows you to stand out in your. And I'm a big fan of define yourself as a big fish in a small pool with your local community. So that's another one. And again, that's what does that do? It's personal human engagement with real people, which I know is kind of terrifying for some of us. Okay. Emily Prebich says, what places seem to be the most effective for running ads? As a new author, I haven't started any paid ad yet, but I'd like to when book 3 is up for pre-order, which will be happening soon. Congratulations. I'm spicy contemporary romance, small town, low angst. Oh, geez. So, Suzie, what do you recommend?
How spicy? If we're talking like mid-level heat where you have a few open door scenes, and not like multiple explicit open door scenes, then that's right up my alley. That's what I write. Where's the question? Oh, there we go.
You see it? Okay.
Yeah, I do now. I just want to read the nuances here.
She hasn't done any paid ads yet.
I would honestly, if you're just starting out, I would kind of stay away from like your CPC style ads, so Facebook ads, TikTok ads, BookBub ads, not BookBub featured deals. Those are good. Just because of the learning curve involved with them and the fact that it's so easy to lose money when you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, that's me. I've lost lots of money not knowing what I'm doing. Still to this day.
Yeah, I still do. And it's so funny because whenever I listen to the gurus about like Facebook ads, I lose money. But when I run them on my own, following my own gut, I do better. And it's like, well, there you go.
Same here.
Just goes to show you not everybody knows everything.
Or it didn't work for this title in this environment, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So what I ended up doing is I focused on the perma-free strategy, and it worked really well for me because my books were unintentionally written to market for that category, and readers ate them up. And so, number one, find out specifically which authors amongst the small town author, because there are a few nuances within small town. Even, I mean, we're splitting hairs here. Yeah. But if you can find your comp authors, so for me, it's actually the trad pubs. So like Robin Carr, Susan Mallory, Rayanne Thane, those guys, the ones that you see on the supermarket stores. Those are my comp authors, which is really funny because I'm an indie author, right?
But a reader doesn't care. They just want more of the stuff they love.
Yeah. They do. So number one, find those comp authors. Make sure your blurbs are written about the same tone as theirs. Make sure your cover elements are right on track with those covers, because what that's going to do is going to grab the attention of those specific readers. Yeah. And to do that, I mean, that's what I did is I ran a couple of BookBubs on my series, and I kept getting comments that people were fans of Virgin River, and they're like, oh, this book, if you like Virgin River, you're going to love these books. And I'm like, oh, cool.
There's your marketing copy.
There's my market. So yeah. This is the time where I say actually read your reviews, because if stuff like that pops up into your reviews, it helps. Try not to read your 1-star reviews, because those aren't your readers.
But if you take the 1-star reviews seriously, you better damn well take the 5-star reviews just as seriously.
Yes, I know. So I don't read my run. Your 3-star reviews are actually 2, 3, and 4s are actually your best ones to glean for information from what I've found, as far as like your, where to improve on your craft. But that's a whole nother story. But it's 4 and 5 stars if you want to see who you're compared to. Those are the best ones to look at for that.
Okay.
But so I would start, with 3 books out. You can try doing like a temporary free or discounting your free book, run a few paid newsletter ads, try for a BookBub at that point if you want, or you can wait until the next book is out. It's up to you entirely. I did it with 3 books out. The 4th one was obviously the one that made all the money. Just to help you kind of really fine tune where you're at. That would probably be my next place.
Right.
And in contemporary romance, it's a very competitive genre. Yes, because there are a ton of books at it, but contemporary romance readers are whale readers. They read a ton. So there's lots of readers to go around, lots of reader dollars to go around. Don't worry too much about that. I would focus more on building slower. Like I say, make sure you get your marketing, packaging, whatever fine-tuned.
Yeah.
And for that, your paid newsletters are a good way to start. For small town contemporary, it's most of the bigger ones. So BookBub, eReader News Today, Free Booksy, or Bargain Booksy, which is Written Word Media, same company. Fussy Librarian's another good one, and they've done a lot to really build their newsletters since I started using them years ago. Robin Reed's is only Amazon and Barnes and Noble, but they have a pretty good sized list. Let's see, like, who else have I used recently? I haven't run, because my series is getting so old and so stale that I've kind of saturated most of these lists.
Yeah.
There could be more new ones out there that I'm not aware of. So if anybody has any, throw them in the comments that I'm missing.
Sure.
But I mean, that's probably one of the easiest ways to start with small town romance, as far as what I've seen, because like Kickstarter, and I'm looking at Kickstarter, you can try Facebook ads. Kickstarter, let's go back to Kickstarter here. I'm kind of losing my train of thought. Romance doesn't do as well on Kickstarter because romance readers are more whale readers. They don't care so much about the extra bells and whistles, as opposed to
they just want another book.
They just want another book. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd say build up your reader base through paid newsletters, and then once you get a nice solid reader base where you've got 4,000 or 5,000, 10,000 subscribers on your newsletter list.
Yeah. Then they want to join you for dinner at a special restaurant because they pay an extra fee just to hang out with you, right? or become a character, or become a side character in one of your novels, like that. Those are the ones who like love you so much. Marie Force does these getaways on Gansett Island, you know, the real island that it's based on, but that's very, very, very limited, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
All right. So.
But yeah, I'd hold off on your like Facebook ads for now. Just work on building your reader base first, until you're making like, you know, if you start making low 4 figures a month, then you can start experimenting with Facebook ads, because like I say, the learning curve on them is really steep and they're constantly changing stuff. It's competitive and you can lose a lot of money. Whereas at least if you have a well-written book that's packaged well, so it's got, you know, the cover trends that your readers are looking for, it's got a well-written blurb, engaging, the newsletter lists, the paid newsletter promos they're an easier way to go, especially for contemporary romance, because like we've said multiple times, contemporary romance readers in general are just wanting more books. So they're always on a lookout. So
they make the world go round.
Yeah, it's not fail proof. Obviously, nothing in this business is fail proof, but it's a pretty solid strategy that's worked my entire 10+ year career. It's one of those that I would actually call a perennial strategy. It continues to work no matter what we do. It's going to continue to work. It's not, you know, one of the flash in the pans where it works great at the beginning and then just kind of fizzles. It's continues.
Of course.
So if I were starting over, that's what I would do again. It worked well for me the first time. It'll keep working well.
So this is kind of related. Diana Wingett says, I completed 4-book clean romance series. Do you still think it's worth doing a free promo for book 1? I guess I'm so afraid there will be no read-through, even though I have good reviews. So the first thing I'd say about, you got 4 books out right now, free promo for book 1. Just make sure there's a strong call to action at the end of book 1, maybe even a teaser of the next book with a link right immediately, like the end. Book 2's here, because those whale readers, right? They go, ooh. Last night Liz was reading in bed, and she got to the end of a book, and immediately she was like, oh, what am I going to read now? And she's scrambling to find the next book to read. Well, and this was nonfiction she was reading, so there was nothing else from that author. But if that was a series, and she's done this with Joanna Penn's novels and stuff like that, she gets to the end, click, next book, and on to it. So a strong call to action, newsletter, next book, I think.
Well, and here's the thing too, 4 books, in my experience and what I've seen a trend anyhow, 4 books is ideal. Honestly, it's not. And the reason why it's ideal is because, number one, it's long enough that you're going to make your money back from any promotions you spend, you know, through yourself, where you're going to earn your money back. But number 2, it's short enough that people say, oh, cool, this first book free, I like it. Oh, there's 3 more books in the series. Rather than going through one at a time like they will on a 10-book series, they'll just buy the whole series together.
Right.
And I will tell you, my read through on the later books in my 4-book series, when it was still 4 books, was so much better than it is on the end of the series when now that's 10 books. Right. Because when it was 4 books, people would just buy the whole 4-book collection. So no, honestly, is it worth it? Totally. Give it a shot. If you're not comfortable running it perma-free, do a temporary free. You can even start discounting it to like 99 cents for that first book if you want. Free works. I mean, your read through is going to be a lot lower. So instead of, you know, like 20 to 50% read through from first book in a series to the next paid book, you're looking at like 2 to 5% read through. Right. So expect that you're going to have really low, but the thing is, it works because of the sheer volume.
Yeah, 5% of 1,000 downloads is better than 50% of 4 downloads. Yeah. So the other thing to think about with and this depends on whether book 1 is 99 cents or free or whatever. Let's pretend it's free, just to make easy math. You got 3 other books in the series. If they were to buy them separately, that's $15, roughly $14.97 or whatever. That's where doing a box set at a higher price point, not $9.99. So it's $14. If it's going to be $14.99, maybe you make it $11.99. You don't publish that to Amazon. Amazon already has a great series page. People can just click a button, buy the whole series. You're done. Good. You make your money. You don't lose. You don't go down to 35%. Google Play Partner Center has really great series promotions where you can encourage people to buy the series books individually and get a discount. But all the other platforms still give you that 70% at the higher level. So that's where a Kobo Writing Life promo for their VIP readers and all those promos they do, it's going to be more attractive to Kobo, to Apple, to Barnes & Noble at $11.99 for a 4-book set than a $4.99 or $3.99 whatever that. And I'm assuming it was $4.99. And I'm speaking U.S. dollars because we all understand U.S. dollars. And so says the Canadian who's used to speaking U.S. dollars. So playing with the series in that way could potentially be beneficial. The other thing you can play with I like playing with this on platforms like Google Play that allow you to create the coupon codes. Put a coupon code for the next book right there. Get book 2, 20%, 25% off. Click now.
Oh, and if you sell direct, you can do that on your own store too.
You can do that on your own store too. Yeah, I've just played on that with PayHip and other things. So that's something you can definitely play with as well.
Yeah. And keep in mind too, I mean, a box set's always a good idea because box set readers are kind of their own audience. I mean, there's obviously going to be some crossover, like your single title readers will also read box sets. Some of your box sets will also, but there are people that like box sets. And there's actually Bernard Cornwell's series, The Last Kingdom, which the Netflix show was made based off of. I started picking that up because Kobo had discounts on the box set. So I've been, instead of reading individual books, I've actually been buying the box sets. I'm like, I'm becoming a box set reader. Oh my word! But they're a different audience.
But I honestly, you know what? I remember Damon Courtney had mentioned this, and ever since he mentioned it, I go, yeah, that's the problem I have with box sets. I'll buy them because it's 99 cents for 6 books or whatever, or even if it's $10 for 6 books, that's a great price. Is I like to see the percent finished one because I do most of my reading ebooks on Kobo, and if it's a huge box set, I feel like I'm only 20% in and I've read 3 books. So I like that sense of getting to the end of something. It gives that emotional satisfaction. Okay, so Annette Narain says, how can I get more reviews? Booksprout hasn't done anything for me. Well, here's the thing I hate about reviews is you really have to shamelessly over ask. If you think you've asked too much, you probably need to ask 25% more.
I hate asking.
Like adding
right there. I hate asking for
just need. If you think you've added too much salt or whatever, you have to add a little bit more. That's tough.
Yeah. And try and explain to your readers, because I mean, a lot of our fans genuinely want to support us however they can, whether or not they can afford it. And leaving a review is a great way to help it. Sharing your books is another way, but I mean, ask them, say, hey, believe it or not, it takes you, a couple seconds to write a review.
Yeah.
And it really does help. And the reason why it helps is not because of all the memes going around that say, if you have 50 reviews on Amazon starts promoting your books. That's a myth.
Yeah.
What it does help is it creates social proof.
Yeah.
And what that says is it's like leaving tips. Like some restaurants will put out a tip jar with a couple bucks in it. They'll put a couple of their own dollars in there because it cues your brain to thinking, oh, somebody else's tip, so I'm going to do it. And this does not go through your conscious mind. It's a subconscious thing. Yeah. Reviews are the exact same way. People see a book with a bunch of reviews and like, oh, a bunch of other people read this book. And even if they hated it, they still read it,
Yep.
So that's why even having like a 1-star review or a lower average is better than having no reviews at all.
And when I worked at Kobo, the big data team did studies that showed if all things being equal between 2 books, same price, same beautiful cover, same whatever, if one of them had even a single 1-star review and the other one had no reviews, the one with a single 1-star review was twice as likely to sell as the one with no reviews. So somebody picked it up and went, oh, pineapple on pizza, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. And they threw the book out the window and they left a review like that. Someone else goes, oh, I love pineapple on pizza.
And then they read it. Yeah, exactly.
But at least someone read it.
I had, and this is so fun, I have a screenshot of it someplace. On my free book, I have a 5-star and a 1-star right next to each other. The 5-star loved the fact that there was only 1 or 2 sex scenes, and the 1-star wished there was like 20 more sex scenes. So, I mean, it's like the exact opposite right next to each other. And it was so funny. But anyhow, back to how you get more reviews. Ask your readers. I think in the back of my books, I have a thing where it says, number 1, if you enjoy this book, please consider leaving a review at your preferred retailer. It really helps other readers find the books. And that's all I say. I don't say a lot. I don't make it like a guilt trip, like, please read my book, anything like that. I just say, hey, you know what? If you'd like this book,
Suzie can eat this one.
Readers. Yeah, well, no kidding, right? Explain to your readers that, hey, you know what? Reviews do help authors, and it helps other readers make the decisions on a book. And it doesn't have to be, it can be even just, hey, I like this book. Of course, I always ask for spoiler-free reviews because I don't want spoilers out there. Who does? Even though as a person, I will search out spoilers, but that's me. I like spoilers. it actually, spoilers make me more inclined to want to go read or watch something. Because I got to see how it comes together.
Of course.
But not everybody's like that. So ask for spoiler-free reviews. Ask your readers, because a lot of them don't even think about how big of an impact reviews can have. So, I mean,
and another comment. So I think Katie Rank says, I'm finding NetGalley lands me more reviews on Apple. So that's another thing, because sometimes they'll read it and then go leave a review on another platform. All right. So Takira Hirath says, new to Wide. And I have to say, I'm so excited, because I've known about your books for a long time, and I've chatted with you, and they look awesome, and now I can buy them on Kobo, so thank you. Yay. And I didn't know that, so that's really thrilling. So anyways, that's a bit of an aside. I recently put my first and new series free. Ooh, I can get it on Kobo for free. I had 3 books out and 4th in pre-order. I was lucky to get a BookBub feature deal. And so I stacked promos for a month around it. So 2 smaller promos a week until January 31st. I got 1.6K newsletter subs. Whoa, awesome. 4 paid subscribers to Ream. Yay. That is Wide. And I love that. Also getting 20 plus new reader emails a week. That's fantastic. That's some good echo effect.
That runs through my early days.
Haven't totaled the retailer dollars yet, but it looks really great. The question is, given these results, should I extend the promo even further, or 6 months, etc.? So that's the and I think I've incorporated the update you posted. So,
given my past history, I would, as long as it's really coming in, I would keep, like drip feeding newsletter promotions. And if you want to start experimenting with Facebook ads, you can do that too. And the thing is a lot of the algorithms, Amazon included, or especially Amazon, favor a longer bump in sales, like a longer as opposed to a big spike. So that's why even when I have like BookBub featured deals, I won't stack everything on the same couple of days. I actually will like lead off with one of the bigger but not BookBub, so like Free Booksy or Fussy Librarian or eReader News Today. I'll start with that, then I'll have my BookBub a couple days after that, and then what I'll do is I'll trickle in various other after that for weeks afterwards.
It's kind of like an explosion rather than a fire that maintains a little bit of heat, right? You know what I mean? So I'm a fan of that, and I would also, take advantage of any of the promotions that you get either direct with the retailers or through a distributor, because those they may not have a huge impact, but they just may be showing your books to more and more readers over time, and it's that steady drumbeat that continues to keep the song going.
And what's the old marketing advice? It takes 7 impressions before somebody clicks buy.
Yeah, that's true.
So you see something 7 times. So every time you run, and this is another reason why to do it, trickle it over time, because if somebody's kind of on the fence about it, if they keep seeing it over a period of days or weeks or even months, they might eventually, they might overcome their, and then they end up downloading the book or buying the next book or whatever.
Right.
So, I mean, as long as you're comfortable leaving it free and continuing to promote it, it's going to help. It'll keep you bumped up in the rankings and the algorithms, give you a little algorithm love. Everybody loves to talk about the algorithm, so let's talk about it. It'll give you a little love in that sense. So yeah, I mean, as long as you're comfortable doing that and you're not like, I don't want to leave it free for long, I'd keep doing it. I mean, if it's working, run with it. That's my theory until it doesn't.
I love that. Yeah. and shout it from the mountains that your books are wide, because I didn't know that. And I was interested in your books. So make sure it's known wide and far that your books are now even available to libraries. All right. So Nicole Burnham said, I'd love to know more about the costs of selling direct. Great question. Costs of setting up the store, the courses, teaching how to do this are astronomically expensive.
They are.
Monthly fees, dealing with taxes, etc. How much does an author need to earn through sales to have any ROI? I suspect this would be a money pit. And you know what, Nicole, that's a great question, and it's a great. I know Deanna Hart, if she's watching, as the accountant, she's like, yes, you need to understand the full costs of everything before you realize you made money.
The nice part is, especially, that's where I think a lot of people who are starting direct are focusing on ebooks, because once your ebook is done, there's no overhead there. I mean, other than places that charge sales tax on ebooks or VAT taxes, all that kind of stuff. as far as like, I'm looking at pricing on like print on demand stuff, because I mean that's one thing my readers have asked for is t-shirts and coffee mugs and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of ridiculous. So I have to price my stuff so high in order to make a couple of bucks on everything, because of, number one, the cost of producing the item, the cost of running. So Shopify, for the basic plan, I think is $40 a month. You can get 3 months for $1, which is what I did. And I'm going to have to start paying the $40 here coming in February. So I better start making some money on this thing. I have enough to pay the first month. But yeah, I mean, you need to figure in your income taxes from that. You need to figure in sales taxes. The courses are, yes, I agree, absolutely astronomical, but there is a lot to learn. Another potential place to look on YouTube University. There are so many, and that's kind of how I've been plunking along.
But I would also say, like, to that end, there's a lot of moving parts. It's very complicated. It's very confusing. Yes, there are authors who are seeing huge success with it, but Nicole, it's not something you have to do.
Yeah.
Especially if it's going to put you in a negative, in a bleeding position with your income.
Don't do that.
You know, you can experiment with it, but again, experiment with it in ways that's not going to damage or hurt you. The other thing, so Suzie, when you talk about these t-shirts and mugs, maybe you only make $1 or $2, but here's the thing that we don't think about, because we live in a cost per clip and analytic realm of, I know that this worked because I can see how many people that clicked it. This goes back to that 7 impressions. There are fans of yours that will walk around with merchandise, with coffee mugs in public, advertising your book for you, that may actually lead people to sell stuff. And that's why I say, the combination of spending marketing money on an Amazon ad or a Facebook ad is, the minute you stop feeding the slot machine, your book cover disappears and is not visible to anyone anywhere. Sorry, it's gone. You ran out of money. Bye. Good luck. Get out of my casino. Because it is really a casino, let's be honest, where the house always makes all the money, and you may make money. When you print a book or merchandise and you put it in a customer's hands, I even have, there's the earrings with the romance book earrings and stuff like that. I made Christmas for some friends of mine as a gift. Somebody I know from Calgary does some really great Christmas ornaments of your book, and it's like the first 100 pages. It's like a little mini book. It's it's so beautiful. And so little things like that, those little marketing efforts last. There's a stat that says that the average print book is handled by 7 people. And so even spending the money to put a print book in someone's hands, as opposed to spending that same money to do an Amazon ad, could have longer term repercussions. And I know this is ridiculous, but I remember, selling a book to somebody 10 years later because of a physical merchandising thing. They saw me 10 years later and went, and they recognized it and ran over. And this was me at an author table. But that's the kind of thing that can happen, right?
I got a fun story. So along these lines, I printed off a bunch of, I ordered a bunch of print on demand from Vistaprint at that point, because I was doing giveaways rather than selling tote bags with my North Star logo, my little cabin in the mountains and all that. And we used to use it. We still do when I can find them. We use them as swim bags to go up to the Elkhorn Hot Springs, which is kind of featured in my books. I changed the names, but there's a hot springs in my books. So I went up there. And I never saw the person, but apparently somebody actually emailed me a couple weeks after and said, I had to go check out your books because I saw your tote bag at the Elkhorn. I'm like, oh my God, that is so awesome. And it's somebody I know. It is somebody I know. And I've chatted with her about it. It was so cool.
How many people who you didn't know saw it and led to a sale? But you can't track it. So this is long-term marketing. So
it is. And what's still, after all this time, the number one way people find new books and new authors is word of mouth and recommendations from people they trust. So friends, family, if they have a blogger on, or Instagrammer or bookstagrammer, that is BookTok, Bookstagrammer, YouTube,
Booktuber,
whoever, BookTuber, whoever, reviews books. If they trust that person, that's still the number one way, is word of mouth. So if somebody gets that print book and says, here you go, check out this book, that person may,
that's marketing,
that one book. It is. And it's, and I want to say the last time I saw that stat was still like 60% or 65% of respondents said that is the only way.
Yeah,
or just about, other than
so much
browsing
noise.
on bookstore shelves. It is.
There's so much noise. It's like, oh my God, you're going to love this book, and then give it to them or point it out or whatever. I mean, that's still how I decide what book. Well, I know certain books I'm going to read because they're my favorite authors. But how do I pick up a book? I hear someone talk about it and how much they love it. All right, so we're getting close to the end. So I got Donna asked a really good question, very important question. Donna Madden says, "Can we have an ebook up on all platforms but Amazon?" Yes. It is logistically entirely possible to never publish on Amazon. But as a wide publishing guy, I'm not anti-Amazon. I'm just wide. Why would you not, unless for some philosophical reason they're the devil and you don't want to work with them, or they've kicked you out, or whatever the case may be, because you never know. But why not be on the world's largest bookstore? Because I still make a good chunk of change from Amazon. So, but you can. You can. There's no 45? Requirement that says you have to have your ebook on Amazon. However, there is one caveat, and this annoys the heck out of me. Oh, I almost said a bad word.
None of
the promo sites, except for Books Go Direct, none of the promo sites allow you to. You have to have an Amazon link, and that it really annoys me. It almost like you can't write. Most of them, right? You have to start with an Amazon link. Oh, and then you can add Apple and you can add Google and you can add Kobo. What?
I think BookBub you can run it without Amazon.
Well, you can run ads, and I've run BookBub ads directly to Kobo when I have a Kobo promo
unless
they've
whatever. Changed it.
Really? Oh, just
because I actually asked
I don't know. It's been so long since I've had a BookBub. I can't tell.
I know. My last one was fall of 2022. I haven't even applied for any since then because
Although I've got rejection. I'll share some of my rejections with you if you're looking for some. So
that's okay. I have a better track record. I have more acceptances than rejections, so I'm doing pretty well there. But no, because I had asked them if somebody specifically wanted to grow the non-Amazon, could they run? They said, we don't recommend it, obviously, because Amazon's the biggest one of the bunch. Yeah. But you can do it. They may have changed that since then, because this has been 3 or 4 years since I asked. Wide for the Wind was alive. It had been conceived. It was alive.
It was alive.
Pretty new.
It was just a baby in its infancy.
Yeah. No, the thing is you're a lot less likely to get a BookBub if you don't include Amazon. So that could be where this, but as far as I know, they would do it.
Yeah. Gratuitous puppy shot. Gratuitous puppy shot. And he's just looking for a better spot on the floor to lay down. There he is. Okay. He's probably going to need to go. Now, Takiri says, asks, I've requested retailer promos first week of January. I got a Kobo promo. If I ask Apple B&N and apply to Kobo again, is that too much? I don't want to get too pushy, and that's important. Now, are you emailing these or are you applying for promos? Sometimes applying for promos, you don't get in all the promos. So just applying for promos, no, it's not too pushy. They may then that familiarity goes, oh, I know this author, and then there's that familiarity, and then maybe they give you the next promo. If you are emailing and requesting special permission and stuff like that, just make sure you're doing it in a professional way, and you're also demonstrating to them that you are also pushing your book on their platforms. They pay attention. So Barnes and Noble, Apple, and Kobo are paying attention. They're watching what you're doing and where you're sharing and where your links are. So, and Katie or Caddy, I think it's Katie. If I get that wrong, my apologies. I'm sorry. I apply to Kobo promos basically every week. Yeah, it's not going to hurt you. Not going to hurt you to apply for those promos, right?
Yeah.
So, awesome.
All right.
Hey,
you're out of time.
You guys asked some great questions. Thank you guys so much. This was a lot of fun.
Yes.
Oh, Katie, thank you, Katie, for now I'll know.
See, now that's what I assume because I've actually known a Katie who spelled it that way. So
I know
I'm
both.
like,
so I can't make so I live in Canada and Regina is a capital city in one of our prairie provinces, and so Regina is the way most people pronounce that, right? So
I want to answer this question real quick before we go.
Oh yeah,
Nola. I heard they could publish individual books wide, but it had the box set in KU. No, it is not possible. That's a violation of their TOS.
Yes, never. Nope. So great question, Nola. Thanks for asking.
That is a great question, but we get it a lot, and that's a definite no.
Thanks for catching that. So,
all right.
This was a great experiment. It worked really, really well. Love you guys. So I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. Yeah. And we'll figure out where we're going to stick the recording if it's not visible immediately. We'll figure that one out.
That's a really good question. Where do we put it?
It may just be there under the event, like past events. If not, we'll probably do a special post under whatever something.
Okay.
We'll figure it out. And then we might even just share it to the YouTube, or the YouTube would share it to the Facebook group and go see what you guys missed.
Yeah, you could have joined this over in Circle.
Take care.
See you guys.
Bye.